Okay, gentlemen, we're looking at BAS Ltd's offering for the XK150 drophead coupe, a beautiful and increasingly valuable car and well worth the effort of restoration. With that said, I strongly encourage potential customers to view this video entirely in the sequence presented. It will be very detailed, and it is an ideal way for you to understand the content of our kit, inclusions, and some unique features that are only available through us. So they are expensive cars to restore, as I'm sure you know. If you're to the point of the interior, you're almost there. And it is a large ticket purchase that you're considering making. And so we encourage you to follow the video presentation carefully from this point. Thank you. Jaguar XK150 drophead coupe. Owners, gentlemen, start your engines. We are looking here at BAS Limited's offering for the 150 drophead. This video will also serve for the 150 fixed head until it's superseded with the fixed head specific presentation. But as you guys know, many of the pieces are common. We are very proud of our offering for the 150s, roadster drophead and fixed head. Here we're looking at a 1960 drophead coupe. This is featured in a beautiful tan color. This is all carefully and accurately handmade here in beautiful Palm Springs, California, and distributed worldwide. We're very proud of this interior kit, as I said, many years of development, and we feel, and our customers feel, that we have achieved absolute perfection. With that said, we unconditionally guarantee all our kits to fit exactly to the very highest show standards as far as originality goes. There's a lot that separates our kits from others. We have a lot of unique offerings that no other company offers as far as a complete interior, and I'll detail those as we look through the videos here. We're first starting with a general overview, and as you can see, this particular color, if you guys know your Jaguar colors, is a Jaguar tan. Very attractive color, especially with greens and blacks. And this particular order is for a well-known luxury department store owner, and that car has been restored to extremely high standard, as you can imagine, and we are pleased to be a part of it here at BAS. So I will leave the introduction there, and well, maybe I'll talk about materials first, and then we'll leave it and we'll look at things closer. So one of the most important ingredients, whether you're baking a cake or making a Jaguar kit, interior kit, are the materials themselves. It really is important. We don't want it to just look beautiful now. We want it to look as beautiful in 6 months' time, 6 years, or even 60 years' time. And the quality of the materials really make a difference with that. We import all the materials directly from the UK, the correct Jaguar grain vinyls, wool cloth moquettes, wool cloth for the headliner, and of course, last but not least, the leather itself. Now, we really do feel that this is probably the most important factor of our success at BAS, is stepping up to the plate and buying the very best, most accurate materials that are available anywhere in the world. We directly import them. We have air freight coming from London Heathrow to LAX weekly, and we carry a sizable stock, as you can see here. So we do have stock of all original Jaguar colors, and all the necessary materials. Another thing in general, before we start to look at specific pieces. Is another great advantage is this interior kit is sat here on our very expensive and very accurate CAD controlled computer controlled cutting machine. This is a Gerber 3500 series, American made machine, beautiful, very accurate, and that gives us a great advantage here. You can see one of our, what we call our Gerber Bibles, showing, in this particular case, we got the file for the 150 drop head 59 on, so that's this particular one with the telescopic stay and the trunk. This is the Hardura set, and of course everything is there's the boot cover, convertible top. I will say that if you notice, there is not room on the table, as this is such a large kit, to present the convertible top or hood for you Aussies and Kiwis. So we'll feature that in a separate video towards the end. We'll also show details of the padding stretcher kit for the padded top. And that'll be at the end of the video here. Anyway, as you can see, these CAD files are made here on our digitizing table. There's a file the guys have just recently tweaked here. It's aluminum side casings for the doors. They're digitized on this digitizing table, and they become CAD files and end up being grouped together. As you can see here, we're looking at the vinyl panel, the vinyl kit for the 150. You can see door panels cut, kick panels, A-posts, under dash. The piece of vinyl goes behind the glove box door. Smaller components for the what we call the ammo box, all of which I'll show you guys in a few minutes. There's the big covers for the wheel arches, even the little tiny strips for covering the plinths below the seat. So as you can see, the great advantage of this is that we have absolute accuracy. We have control over that. We can repeat it time and time again. Of course, it's nested for best yield, and subsequently you can be assured that nothing is missed from your kit. When we roll out a roll of the vinyl here and lay it onto the table, press that button there, the whole interior is cut out in about 32 seconds. It's quite magnificent, and that ensures that every single piece is there. Further to that, all our kits come labeled in separate bags with very detailed label telling what is within the bag, and therefore with that what it is and where it goes. Some things may be entirely obvious. One pair of B-post panels, but it gets a bit tricky when you get rectangles and cut pieces of vinyl. And here this one is actually for the moquette, but we have a, let's see, we have the label for the vinyl somewhere. I'll get that when we look at the panel kit. But here's an example: petrol filler moquette, rear door access aperture cover, rear step covers. All of these are within the bag labeled, and that really helps you or your restorer or your upholstery guy know what these pieces are, and with that where they go. Here's a great example: vinyl 55 inches in length for the front dash finishing pipe. So there we go. That's the level of detail. So we'll leave it there, and I'll clear some of the table, and we'll first start to look at the carpet set. And of course we have all variants: automatic, manual, left-hand drive, right-hand drive, and of course here we're looking at 1960 manual left-hand drive. Okay, let's take a look at the carpet set. This is 1960 left-hand drive manual. This customer for this particular tan interior kit chose to have contrasting carpet in this color cinnamon. The most common choice would be matching tan, as you can see here. So our carpet sets are made of 100% Wilton wool carpet, made in the UK, and we stock this in 17 colors, I believe. So we have all the original colors and some custom colors also available. As you can see, we provide every piece of carpet that was supplied by Jaguar. The obvious thing is the front mats here, the kick panels, the toe board carpets. There's the one for the diff. As you can see, they are beautifully bound. Even the corners and the way the binding fits around these difficult to bind. We have a special machine, and the sewers here do a beautiful job of binding this carpet set. And you can see that customer chose to go with the leather. Well, as original, the heel pads on all XKs were leather onto a panel board, and then sewn beautifully, top stitched here. As you can see how accurate the sewing is. And I would tell you that this is, simply put, the kit that we're showing you here is absolutely without doubt built to a much higher standard than Jaguar ever did in production, including the sewing. We have lots of evidence of that. At the factory back in the 50s and 60s, post-war UK, well, as you know, I was born in post-war UK, let me tell you. A bit of a grim place, and this English craftsman rubbish is just that. This was a car factory, and they raced through the stuff every day. There was no time for art. It was production. And now, of course, the cars are being restored to much higher standards than they ever were produced, as I'm sure you guys know. So you can see we have the original leather shift boot sewn in with the leather binding. This is for up at the front of the bell housing cover. So, as I said, all the pieces. We'll cover this later in the panel kit, but we even have the black snap set. That's 22, I believe. You can see the details of this label, panel fixing clips, the screws and washers for the panels, and of course the carpet and trunk set, snap set. There's males and females, all that's necessary. They're not fitted, of course. They weren't a Jaguar, they were fit to the car as it was installed. We also include an underfelt set in this high quality underfelt. There was very little underfelt used in XKs. People wrongly think that the floors the main mats had underfelts. That's not the case. This is a gearbox pieces and toe board and so on. So just that is used on the XK150s, all of them common. So that's a pretty good overview of the carpet set. Again, we roll out the carpet stock onto the machine, and you can see there's some stock there. We roll it out. Operator pulls up this file. There's all the pieces, all the shapes, presses the button, whole lot's cut out perfectly. So there we go. That's the overview of the carpet and underfelt set. We'll now look at the Jaguars. So we'll look at the 150 trunk set, just like that CAD file I showed you earlier. Jaguar used Jaguar where they could get away with it, anywhere that they could use it in place of the wool carpet. It's much less cost to them, of course. What is Jaguar? Well, it's a PVC coated natural jute felt that's hard wearing and color matched to the interior of the car. These pieces are then, with the exception of the trunk mat, are glued into position on the car. And you can see that our file includes every piece that was original to the car, even down to the smallest pieces like this, that's used around the dip switch, headlight dip switch button. Trunk sides, the rear bulkhead, Jaguar. This one, of course, the rear seats go on top of that. You don't see much of it when it's in the car. And then finally the main trunk mat. The machine cuts the holes accurately. We do not include the rubber grommets on this, but they are available as an extra if you need them. You can add them to your order. And so there's the Jaguar. Again, we have, I believe, 9 or 10 colors, but certainly all the factory original colors are available. And of course, needless to say, imported from the UK, exactly to Jaguar spec. Okay, now we're looking at our moquette for the 150 drop head coupe. What is moquette? Moquette is a short nap wool cloth, 100% wool, and it's exact reproduction, again imported from the UK. In all original colors are available, and if it's a piece of moquette that is cut to shape, it's supplied appropriately, oversized, trimmer friendly. Of course, when it's installed on the car, it becomes much less than the pieces you see. Case in point, here's the big piece of moquette that's used for this cover here. So I got the guys, they cut two so I could show you what would come in the kit. This customer has chose, as many of our customers do, to send us components that he's able to remove from the car that we can completely retrim here. This is an extra charge, of course, not included in the trim kit itself, but I'll go into detail on our offerings for what we call bench shop labor. But as you can see in the kit, you would just get that, and then that's used to cover this. There's if it's a sewn piece, we call these the mini lower wheel arches. The mini wheel arches. There's the bigger wheel arches. If this one is, we supply a hard to get in the US 1/8" foam for covering behind that. It's a nice pre-cut 1/4" foam for the differential cover. As you can see, that's sewn, and the bag appropriately marked. Wheel arch cover small, differential cover, 1 pair differential foams, 1/4", and that would of course all be in one bag. So there's and then I think I showed this earlier, petrol filler cover, that's this, rear access door, upper aperture, one each, lower aperture covers, there's these two, step covers actually, that's that one, and then there's the lower aperture cover, that one there. So there we have it, all the pieces needed for the 150 drop head, and subsequently, actually no, not the same for the fixed head, so just the drop head. Gentlemen, we'll backtrack a little before we start to look at the panels here. Some pieces I left from the moquette episode there. As you can see, it's no great Hollywood production. I'm just gonna tell you that I missed these pieces. Here we go. Hold down strap hardware mount panels. There's a pair of these, moquette covered, supplied as a brand new panel. So again, the moquette, if it's sewn, it's sewn. If it's an oversized piece, it's cut. And if it's trimmed to a panel, it's trimmed to a panel. And there's an example. We also have this moquette that is sewn to the Hardura, again missing from the Hardura presentation, for the rear hatch plywood board. Now this particular customer chose to buy this plywood from us, so he bought the birch ply, and he also subsequently bought the labor for us to recover this. As you can see, there's the important T-nuts, and we'll cover some of that in our shop labor. But let's move forward now into, and I'll explain why that's flapped also, into the panels. Just a quick overview. I can tell you that we have the most complete 150 panel kit available anywhere in the world, second to none. Many of our competitors do the easy panels. They do not offer the hard to do panels. They give you covers for you to cover your old stuff, which is not recommended. You can't cover 56-year-old distorted panels and get the results that we get with the new panels, obviously. So let's look at some of these panels and covers. Start with some covers. I showed this earlier. This is the detail label that would come attached to this bag of vinyl. Glove box vinyl, well, it's down there on the glove box, so we'll look at that in a minute. Under seat ply triangle covers, that's those. And transmission inspection plate cover, 8 inches by 8 inches, of course, much smaller when it's trimmed onto the metal panel. And here, as you can see, the customer sent it. So in the kit, you'd have the piece of vinyl, 8 by 8 to cover that. Seat plinths, 1.5 inches by 31, 4 each. Windscreen surround vinyls, that's that one and the long one here and that one there, 3 pieces it says. And then dash vinyl, 3 by 25, that's this one the sticker's sitting on, that one there. And that piece there in the car gets glued onto the car itself, right below this dash fascia. Anyway, there's an example of the detail of the covers. We also include, as you see from the label, 1/8 inch. This is hard to find in the US. This 1/8 inch polyfoam, half a yard by the width of the roll. It's 50 odd inches by 18, obviously, and a third of a yard by the width of the roll, so 54 by 12. Extra piece of vinyl for some miscellaneous things that get glued onto the body of the car, and to help your installer with some of the small details. That's included in the kit. Back to the panels. As you can see, we supply all the easy to make panels that our competitors do, like the trunk lid panel or the boot lid panel, the underdash panel, hinge cover panel, kick panels, door panels, and so on. That's straightforward. Where it gets more tricky are the hard to reproduce and recover aluminum panels that are on and around the door. There's the side casings. We'll look at the door cabins. I'm just giving you an overview, and then we'll look at them closer. B-post panels. Again, these are aluminum, brand new. All of these are digitized files, CAD cut for accuracy, and they're exact reproductions of the original. So there's the pockets for the doors, for instance, there. Now, as I was saying, we'll look at the panels here. Door panels with or without ashtray. Customers chose to go without the ashtrays. This is again CNC cut on a routing digitized routing machine, 3D routing machine. As you can see, the panels are beautifully finished on the back. Our guys date and initial them, autograph them, so to speak, as was often done at the factory. You can see that our panels look as beautiful on the back as they do on the front. Much better, higher standards than Jaguar ever did. Reinforced with staples, as you can see there. That's the door panels. In the kit, there would be 2 at 85 inches long piping for around door apertures. They're pre-made. They've got an extra long tail, as they were at Jaguar. Kick panels there. You can see this is the late style. And again, beautifully trimmed on the back with the flap on the bottom and the front leading edge of that one as that's glued down onto the floor. Rear parcel shelf. There's early and late style. This is late, and of course we include the panel clips with this. The early style is moquette covered, and of course we have all variations. We have the pillar base dash end panels. These are right at the bottom of the pillar, either side on the windscreen, low down, brand new panels supplied there, covered, ready to go. Then we have boot or trunk hinge cover panel. There's two variations, 3 inch and 4 inch. This is the 3 inch, the smaller version. Again, aluminum, CNC cut, vinyl covered, bagged and labeled, and again the big panels there. I'll leave that there. We'll clear the bench, or the Gerber table I should say, and then we'll look at some of the more difficult panels in detail. Now to the most important, and I believe the most impressive part of our BAS offering for the 150s is the components that we supply in our optional perfectionist panel upgrade for the 150s. And I can't remember the last time someone didn't take this option. It is strongly recommended as the best way to restore your 150 to its former glory. And that option is for the brand new side casings. There's aluminum panels. You can see these are from stock. So we make the aluminum panels. They're CAD cut and bent on some specialty tooling. This one, of course, hasn't had the bend in, but you can see has the panel clips and so on. They end up looking like this, and then they're fully covered, and that makes it so much easier for you to get perfect results on the door panels. These pieces are not easy to cover, as you can imagine, and having them as brand new pieces is very, very beneficial. What you pay extra for in the kit, you certainly make up for on the labor, and subsequently the finished results is the door cappings here, padded as original. So that's that. I'll I'll continue with the doors and then we'll look at the B-posts. So essentially our idea with the Perfectionist panel kit is to include everything you need to rebuild the doors completely, including the bottom storage box, which we call the ammo box for obvious reasons. There's the ammo box, we reproduced that. Creased fiberboard, we have a special machine for this creasing, so a pair of them are included. The covers for the doors themselves, the lower pockets with the clips, has the primed steel on a 3mm or 1/8" birch ply. That's for the bottom of the doors. And most importantly, these are made by BAS UK. They're the reproduction door panels for the XK150, exactly the same as the early E-types, by the way. Has the grey and the stainless finisher, brand new urethane molded pad, and then covered in vinyl. Very difficult to cover, actually, these, and especially to get them looking that good. And I'm sure you would agree that these look a lot better than the scruffy originals that you currently have on your car. So those are included in our kit. And then finally we'll look at these big B-post panels for the drop heads. You can see it has the flap on the bottom. It goes down glued onto the floor. Autographed. Has a birch ply tack strip at the front as original. You of course don't see that when it's in the car. Vinyl covered, as you can imagine. This is not a particularly easy panel to trim or to manufacture the panel itself. It tapers in many directions there, as you can see. So exact reproductions of the B-post panel, or side panels there for the rear. And I showed the panel board before. This I just wanted to let you know that the panels, if in this particular case the pockets were birch ply covered, birch ply panels. These aluminum, of course, birch ply on the front edge. And the other panels that I showed earlier, trunk lid and A-post panels, we use this water resistant 3mm 1/8" automotive panel board that allows stretch. This is a piece off a 150 fixed head. We'll look at that later, but essentially the panel board is made out. There's a few exceptions. This is a slightly lesser gauge as it was to copy the original spec there. And again, with this panel board, you can see how we get this bend. Allows it to bend. This is, of course, the panel that goes at the interior light cover panel. Okay, so that's that. We'll clear the bench of those, and we're working our way towards this beautiful dash set. Okay, guys, we're almost there. Now to a very nice feature of the 150, the beautiful leather trimmed dash. Best way to describe this dash is to tell you how it comes in the kit. How it comes in the kit is cut and sewn and bagged and so on. What we're looking at here is the end results of the house shop labor bench work. We have a flat rate for this type of work, and as many of our customers choose, if they choose us for an interior kit, they also go with us on this set rate labor service, where they send us the components that we're about to look at here, and we recover them. But let me just start by saying how it would come in a regular kit if it was going to be installed overseas or by a home restorer, say. The top covers here for the top dash are sewn leather, two pieces of leather sewn together. There's a vinyl cover for this vent. Some of the later cars had chrome, but vinyl covered. And a rectangle of leather for this, rectangle of leather for this. Of course, the holes are not cut. This is a sewn piece of leather, but you can see beautifully top stitched there. Hopefully that comes out. And that's been that would be provided sewn. That's for the glove box. A piece of leather appropriately oversized to cover the front of the box, and of course we covered that piece of vinyl in the previous miscellaneous vinyl. This would just come as a rectangle of leather to cover this, and of course these are all cut to shape in the kit. So that's how it would come, and of course the piece of piping for the front leading edge. Available as an extra, you can put, and strongly recommended, again, unique to BAS, proprietary foam. We mold this ourselves. not in-house, but we own the tooling here for the D-roll. You can see it, brand new foam here. Almost always the original Dunlopillo foams are disintegrated, so recommend the use of new foams. They get trimmed out to take this shape, and of course that's how they're done. Also, as an extra, we have the glove box. We have one. We're waiting for this stock to be flocked. Flocking is electrostatically charged fibers, as you can see, like you see in an old jewelry box. There's the original green, creased and riveted. Creased meaning it can fold. We have one example to show you how it looks when it's finished. And of course, there's two, and there's left-hand drive and right-hand drive versions, of course, and they sit behind these positions here. Available as an extra, a pair of glove boxes. Okay, we'll set that aside. Now, let's look at the dash itself. Very difficult to do, and certainly very difficult to do to this standard. As you can see, I think the word to describe this is absolutely perfect. Our very best guys do this work. It is not easy work to get the results that you see. So we take the steel components. I do believe we shot a video of this when it came in. It was pretty scruffy. If you'll see it at the end of the video if you want reminding of just how ugly this stuff can look before and how beautiful it is after. So we glass bead and paint the steels. They have to be completely clean. All the old glue, same with the wood here. This was in pretty bad shape if I remember. All cleaned back, sanded, and as you can see. But imagine, this is difficult to do, and certainly not for the home restorer. As you can see, dash fascia. Originally, all 150s had this antiqued grey leather. There are some rare cars that have the aluminum dash, but most have the grey here. If you remember, this was in very poor condition. Look at the work that goes into that. Isn't it beautiful? So, I think you see my point. This was bent, and this was primer colored from the factory, so we do exactly as original. We can provide you the covers. There's no way for even the very best home restorer to get these professional results. Our guys have many years of experience, and that's how they do this day in, day out. Now, why send it to us, even from long distances? And we get seats. I can tell you, we get seats and components from all over the world. You name a country, we've had them air freighted to us. So shipping within the US is very straightforward, UPS ground. What's the advantage of sending it to us? Well, you have a flat rate. In other words, you have a given cost. There's no moving target as far as unknowns as far as cost. And what you're paying for and what you will receive are the guaranteed results that you see here. Simple as that. If you take these components to the local upholstery shop, the results will vary depending on the guy's experience. And if you live in a small town or small community that has one or two upholstery shops and they do a little bit of everything, including chairs and restaurants and boats, and one of those guys, there's just no way that they would have the experience to get these results. So again, for the best results, you send these pieces to us. So these are all the things that unbolt from the car. Essentially, there's the gearbox access plate. I mentioned this one earlier. This is a brand new birch ply with the T-nuts. We flap this because the hinge has to be installed, and then this gets covered on the final install on the car. And this aluminum filler cover panel here, again, it was in poor shape when we had it. Those pieces can get sent to us. And I think that does it there for the dash. We're very pleased with the way this is, of course, the overdrive switch. Not everybody has that. We're very pleased with the way this one turned out, and I'm sure the customer will be. Can't wait to see it in the car. Very excited about this car. It's being restored, as mentioned before, to a very high standard, and will be showing in the Northwest quite soon. Okay, that's that. Now we'll look at the crowning glory of any XK, and that is the front and rear seats. Okay, we'll start with the rear seats, the little jump seats in the rear that are never used, but just for show, not for go. I don't think I've ever seen anyone sitting in the back of an XK 150. Anyway, they're supplied as covers in the kit, leather and moquette sewn together. And of course, this customer chose to have us completely rebuild the rear seats as an extra labor charge. We asked that the customer sends us the hardwood from the front leading edge. You can see that one there. We have an original here. We have the pattern. We are able to reproduce it. It is expensive and often survives well on the car. So if you have the original, you send that to us. I don't have any new stock to show you, but I can see originals here. Here's the 9mm or 3/8 birch, Baltic birch ply that we used as Jaguar did. Hard to get in the US. We used it for a reason. It's very high quality and we feel necessary for accurate reproduction. There's the plywood for the cushion base. So all the wood components are available. I can't remember the content of the kit. You can check online. I believe the foams are included, but not the wood pieces. They're supplied as an extra, and of course not the labor. These are crudely trimmed seats. They never look that great. This, the pucker in here is common. The nature of the seat is just poorly designed and was never meant to look pretty. The front looks good, top looks good, and the rest is sort of hidden. So anyway, there's the rear seats. Same with the center console. You get the sewn center console, comes in the kit with the handbrake gaiter sewn in beautifully top stitched, as you can see there. And you get the new fiberboard panel. And then if you choose, you can have us assemble it ready to install on the car, as this one is. I think we'll leave it there, clear the bench, and we're finally there, almost there. We're finally to the front seats. One thing on the rears. There's the polyfoam that's applied for the cushion portion of the seat, and then the foam, this shape, is applied for the backrest here. And there is the 3mm Baltic birch ply for the rear. Again, check the content. I'm not 100% sure from memory if this is included in the kit or as an extra, but we don't play a shell game with content that is shown on our web page, and what you see is all included in the kit. Of course, these snaps have to be installed as they were at Jaguar so that they fit right on to the car. Just wanted to amend and add that in, and we'll get to the front seats. Now, this is what makes BAS famous for Jaguar upholstery. Perfect front seats. I think that you would agree that there's no other way to describe these. They turned out beautifully, and we'll look at them in detail. Let's start by saying, again, in the kit, the covers come. They're sewn covers. The leather, as I mentioned earlier, all imported from the UK. It's original Jag colours and original Jaguar specification to match original Connolly leather. That's Connolly, of course, no longer in business. Have been out of business for probably about 15 years now. But frankly, the leather we use now is better than the original Connolly for many reasons. Anyway, you can see here, this is an XK150 cushion cover. And commonly, they don't look that great when they're just sitting on the bench without being stretched. That's what they look like when they're done. So in the kit, you would get the cover sewn like this. The cushion, the backrest, the moquette pieces for the back of the front seat and so on. I'll go back to the leather. I can tell you that we pay absolute top dollar for this leather. It is the very best quality leather that is available. And it is something that is significantly different in our kit compared to others. The great advantage of the high quality leather is it lasts for many years. You get that great smell that it's famous for, and long lasting. Of course, it's characterized by a real nice flat look, non-shiny look. There's a kind of a satin sheen. But anyway, let's go back to the sewn here. We can see also a secret weapon of BAS. I call it our secret, not so secret anymore. Scrimback foam. We use the specialty sew foam that we have made for us. It's a very high quality foam, 3 times the price that regular foam is, as is the leather, frankly. Plus, we have to import it from Europe with their expensive air freight. So, all in all, the materials are expensive. What you get with the foam in particular is you get these end results of very full foam pleats that are dead straight, the hallmark of BAS. So again, in the kit, the covers come. This customer, as many do, chose to send us the seat frame so that we can rebuild these again. We have a advertised flat rate on this, so you know where you are as far as costs. Can't show you what's inside the seats because of course they're already done, but we'll look at this XK150 to give you an example. That hardwood on the back leading edge, often including this one on this 150, survives well, common. The birch ply tends not to, and it has to have strength and mustn't be delaminated to it, able to take the tacks, especially at the bottom, as you can see here. So very often they're replaced. They're replaced as necessary. That there's extra to the kit. We use the 9mm Baltic birch ply, as I demonstrated earlier. We have a flat rate powder coating. We have an excellent powder coater locally that has had this custom color made for us to be perfect color for the greeny gray color that the seat frames were. On the 150s, of course, you see very little of them. The guys wrap these so that they don't get damaged during their work. But the entire backrest frame is powder coated. You can see a little bit of that one over there, just there. Now, let's look at the cushion base. Included in the kit is our molded urethane foam. It's our own tooling in Los Angeles. We produce this foam to fit our covers perfectly, and as you can see, there's the results. What is urethane foam? It's a molded urethane. Is this foam here? This is an E-type. Don't have any XKs to show you. The new order is due in a few days, but we'll demonstrate for the video with this E-type foam here. And molded urethane is a 25-year life foam, so you get longevity, comfort. We formulate with our supplier exactly the right ratio of the compounds to get the exact look and feel of the original seat. So again, E-type shown, XK cushion will be included in the kit. Then we have the backrest foams. The backrest foams, we get very good results, as you can see, with polyfoam. So this is the wedge for the center, there's the roll. I know it's hard to believe that that's just about it for the rears, but that's, as you can see, there's the final results. Look at the cushion details. You can see the steel pan was glass beaded and painted in the original primer, reused, attached to the new base plate, also painted in primer as original. And then a nice touch for the guys here, do this decorative coating around the staples and tacks here, as it was done at Jaguar. So we do that with all our XK seats, and as you can see, the end results are beautiful. Now let's set that aside. Cushion done. Looking at the backrest. There we go. We've got the shoulder roll. Beautiful pleats. There's two variations of the XK seat, what we call pointed and curved. This, I believe, is pointed. That's the outer flute there. Comes to a point. The difference is about 2 inches in width across the top, and it's a measurement that we ask you to check. Measure each car for each order. You can see tacked onto the tack strip down there as original, crudely finished at the bottom as Jaguar did, no other options here, and then of course tacked on the bottom for authenticity, not that you see it. Vinyl skirt. We often make these panels for the sides custom for each. Jaguar just punch press them, and the fit varies depending on who did the seat at Jaguar. But we often custom cut these panels for a much better fit. You can see the tacks on the bottom of the. This is a rear lower lip panel and inner side panels, again custom cut, and the moquette done as original with the blind finish in with use of tack strips. Quite difficult to do. And there's a result there. Of course, we haven't got this assembled, but gives you an idea of how it's going to look in the car. And I think that's a good overview of the seats. Again, the advantage of sending us is that you get the guaranteed results that you see here, and you're not experimenting with the results with a local shop. Or anyway, I've made that point earlier, so let's move on, and we'll cover the headliner next, and we'll catch up with the top liner and boot cover in a few next week. I believe production will have those finished, and we'll add the video. 150 drop head coupe headliner. Fixed head is very similar. Sewn headliner, beautiful wool cloth, made in Yorkshire as it was for Jaguar. We have a great supplier there, authentic 100% English wool cloth in grey and fawn. The customer here chose to go with a grey headliner. It's also going with an attractive grey top, which I'll show you later. The pieces for the headliner are cut on the machine. The machine even puts the chalk line, that fade line there, light line that just brushes off. That's a chalk mark for the top stitch. You can see how beautifully it's top stitched, perfectly dead straight. Paper corded as it was at Jaguar. There's a reason for that. I won't go into it, but we do it exactly the same. The pieces, various pieces that get glued onto the car, including the convertible top frame, all supplied, sewn, ready to install. So that's that. Again, I showed you this interior light cover panel earlier. There's a block of wood that can be reused off your old one. If you're missing that, we do have them, so there's no problem there. I think that's it for that, and now we'll switch and look at the snap-on the Ramsey seal. XK150 Roadster drop head fixed head, snap-on, U-shaped metal, steel and rubber carrier. As you can see, the actual piece itself, then there it's wrapped in a wool cloth moquette. The people that remanufacture this, we don't remanufacture this. A specialty company has limited colors, so we pick the colors that are closest to the kit, and this certainly fits in with the tan, and it will look good once it's in the car. Various lengths for each model. Drop head is 22 feet. This is not exactly as original. The original smaller profile was sometimes cloth covered and is no longer available, which is just as well, because it doesn't work. Didn't work for Jaguar, and it didn't work for us when we used to use the smaller version. The smaller version of moquette covered stuff is available, but this is an exclusive from BAS, the wider version. The wider version gives great results. That's simply put, the small version is very difficult to work with, and seldom gives the results that we get with this. We learned this the hard way in-house. Difficult thing to do. There's a technique for putting this on. We're happy to share that with customers. Just remind us when you get to that point, and we can tell you how to deal with this, and tell your installer, they're certainly welcome to call us. That information is available for customers buying kits, and we're happy to share that. So there's the snap-on, and then very important ingredient here. This is called the Ramsey seal. It's an exact reproduction of the original. You can see it's kind of a weird shape. It has a little U, a hollow piece. That's critical that it's hollow. There's lots of variations of this, lots of knockoff stuff made in Asia, other people's attempts of making this. And let me tell you, we used them all until this is reproduced by BAS in the UK. This is a great reproduction. It's crucial that you get the hollow leading edge here that allows for collapse, and this thin piece here goes over the pinch weld. Again, the use of this with this snap-on gives great results. I'm happy to share. I can tell you get more than that in the kit. There's of course 22 feet of this to match that. Just brought a little sample to show you. And again, this I believe is not included in the kit. It is an extra, highly recommended. There's lots of cheaper versions out there. Ours is not the cheapest, as usual with our products, but you'll find none better, and will save you and your installer a lot of a lot of hair pulling out when you get to this job. So there's that.